Today I'm going to be tier listing survivor stereotypes. So basically I'm going to put all of these survivors into a tier list based on how these survivors typically play, like when I run into them in my matches. And I'm going to be basing this on my personal experience. Like I know like different people sometimes have different stereotypes of how each survivor like tends to act in a match, but I'm just going to go off of like what I think these survivors act like. So let's get right into it. So first let's start with Dwight. So Dwight, honestly, they're either completely like a noob and they hide in lockers and stuff. Like I actually see Dwight's doing that. And DBD also kind of perpetuates that stereotype because in the tutorial as well as in their videos like about how to play DBD, like they always have Dwight going into a locker at some point or another. So obviously they're making that stereotype kind of happen. But Dwights are either complete noobs or they're like, I feel like super pro loopers and like really toxic, but I personally don't tend to see that side of Dwight as much, probably because like I'm kind of in the lower ranks, so I just don't see those very much anymore these days. But yeah, I would say like his main stereotype is being like super noob. And, you know, there are like the occasional like super toxic P3 Dwights that you'll see in the lobby. So based on this stereotype, I'm going to put him in A because I think the noob kind of stereotype is really cute. And for the Dwights that are pros, I mean, that kind of belongs in A anyways because, I mean, if you're good at the game. Okay, now for Megs. See, the thing about Megs is that I feel like the stereotype is that Megs are just really bad at the game and they like waste pallets and they wait for hatch and like this kind of stuff. And I feel like maybe the reason for this is because Meg is also one of those survivors that people tend to play first, like when they first start DBD. Probably partially for her perks and just because she's like one of the original survivors. Like I'm not really sure the reason for people playing Meg, but I'm pretty much a Meg main, I think. Like I go between mains, but I really play Meg a lot these days, but her stereotype is not good at all. And when I think about like Megs that I run into in my matches, I feel like I do agree with this stereotype of, you know, Meg's not really being the best. I've had a lot of like really frustrating experiences with Megs. And, you know, I don't know, it makes me sad because I'm kind of a Meg main, but I really don't think she belongs into the higher tiers. Like based on her stereotype, I'm gonna have to put Meg in C. Because she's definitely not one of the better survivors that you'll typically see in your matches. Okay, so the next one is Claudette, and oh my god, me personally, I hate Claudettes in matches. Like, I don't know if it's like the matches that I go into, but Claudettes have this perpetual blendette stereotype where they try to hide all the time and they'll hide throughout the whole match when you're trying to get things done. They never do gens, like they just like crouch around and don't do anything.
What the fuck are you doing?
And like they hide and I can't stand Claudettes. And like even when I played I think it was like the kill the bots tutorial mode in DBD, like it had the Claudette just like randomly crouching somewhere. So the stereotype is real, guys. Like this DBD stereotype that they put on Claudette, I feel like it's real, you know, because she's a character that, you know, blends in with a lot of the environment and people like take advantage of this. And of course there are like good Claudettes. Like obviously there are really good Claudettes out there who use the blendette stereotype to their advantage and do hide an appropriate amount but not like don't do anything. But I'm going to put Claudette in D. Like, I'm sorry, because I'm just so frustrated with all of the Claudettes that I run into. And since this is based on my experience, I'm putting her in D. But I totally understand, like, if you guys think that she should go in a different tier. Okay, the next one is Jake. And I'm kind of trying to think how I feel about Jake, because I feel like based on the Jakes that I've seen, I don't really feel one way or the other about him. The weird part is I feel like I don't actually even see Jakes that much. And, when I do see Jakes, they don't really stand out to me like as good loopers or as gen jockeys or anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Jake in B, just because like, I don't really have an opinion on him that much. Okay. Nia, oh my god. So there's like two kinds of Nias, I feel like. And they're both toxic. Like Nias, I feel like are literally always toxic. And the most toxic Nias wear like either the colored hair outfits or they'll wear that like graffiti outfit. And those two outfits are definitely, or two or three, are the most toxic Nia outfits.
So you got a magnificent pair of bananas. Oh, great heavens!
But there are two types of toxic Nias. Like, there's a toxic Nia that's terrible at the game, and like they think they're so good, but they're just like teabagging and going down like every second. And then there's Nias that are toxic, but they're actually like really good at the game. I think I would put Nia in. I just like really, as much as Nias like annoy me, like I do like the Nia aesthetic. And if you're thinking about it from like a survivor point of view, like she is a good survivor. And like, I feel like, toxic survivors that are good, at least it kind of, justifies the toxicity. No, not that I like think being toxic is great or anything, but like at least if you're toxic you should be good. Like I'm gonna put Nia in, God, this is kind of hard. I think I'll have to put Nia in S. I just, Nia's a cool survivor. And like based on her stereotype, I find her really interesting, especially because the stereotype is like almost always true. Like Lori. Okay, Lori I feel like is also not a survivor that I see as frequently as some of the others. I feel like Lori at least means DS, for sure. I don't know, when I'm thinking of Lori, like the only thing I can think of is DS. Let me see if there's any other stereotypes for her online. I just saw buff girl on campus. I'm like, what the heck? Buff girl on campus, she has a big stick and a stereotype to chase the killer on occasion, like an annoying Karen telling him to live better. What the heck is this? What? This is hard. Like, what the heck? Okay, I'm just gonna put her in B. Because I don't have any problems with Lori's. Like, I don't see a Lori and I'm like, oh god, she's just gonna do nothing the whole match, So, I like Lori's. Okay, Ace. Is it just me, or is every Ace in the game, like, seem to be useless? I'm sorry if you're a useful Ace main, but any Aces that I encounter, like I'm already putting him in D, because every single time that I have an Ace in my matches, like they always play super weird. Like they're doing all this like really weird stuff throughout the game, like that doesn't make any sense. And they're always completely useless. They'll leave you on hook to die. They're just going around like opening chests or whatever with their little lucky perks. And I'm sorry, like I know it sounds like I hate Ace, like, but it's just like I can't. Like whenever I see an Ace in my match, I'm like, he's just not gonna do anything. I'm going to be left to die while he gets his chest. So yeah, I'm putting him in D. Bill. So honestly, I actually really like Bill's. I think because he has BT, like Bill's just tend to be like really altruistic, at least from what I have seen. And even if they're like noobs or if they're pros, like no matter what kind of Bill it is, like Bills are just really altruistic. Like at least that's the opinion that I have of him. Now that I'm looking at this article, I just want to like see what it says about Bill. Was pretty cool in Left 4 Dead. Now he's surrounded by even bigger pansies that he usually has to end up dying for. Dude, I love how this person sounds so pissed in this like thing, like about everyone. Yeah, so even here they agree that he ends up dying for people because of the altruism thing. I'm gonna put Bill in S because I just like really like Bill main survivors. Like they just are kind of my kind of playstyle, you know? Okay, Fang. So Fang, like the first thing that I think about with Fang are her cosmetics. Like Fang cosmetics are some of the best cosmetics, like in my opinion, other than like maybe Nia. And I don't know, Fang players, I feel like there's a really big variety of like the kind of players that play Fang. Like I don't feel like I see that many noobs playing as Fang. Like, I feel like it's more at least moderate to advanced survivors, which is kind of interesting because, like, Fang has the technician perk, which is, like, a completely new perk. But people that start playing DBD don't really seem to play Fang very much necessarily. I feel like Fangs, you know, like, they do gens, they loop pretty well. They're not, like, they don't leave you on hook to die or anything. So I'm just going to put Fang in A just because I love her cosmetics. Like, she's, like, one of the few survivors that I actually bought cosmetics for in the game. And when I encounter other Fangs in my matches, like, they're always looking really good, at least. And they're also playing pretty well, decently well. So I'm going to put her in A. David. Okay. So I feel like with David, like, there's two kinds of Davids. Like, there's the kind of David that puts on no mither and dies immediately. Which does tend to happen a lot in some of my matches. Like, whenever I see a David come in with no mither, I immediately get annoyed because I know for a fact, like, they're just gonna die. And and it's kind of funny because, like, I've done it myself. Like, sometimes I'll put on no mither as a meme and then I just, like, die immediately. But it's just for the fun, you know? But other than that, like, sometimes I feel like Davids, if they're playing seriously, I feel like Davids are actually really good at the game. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but Davids are, like, generally pretty altruistic. They're really good at looping. Davids don't, like, strike me as toxic. Like, they're a pretty decent, like, survivor. I think I'm gonna put David in A because David's a pretty good survivor, like typical David mains. But for those Davids that come in with no mither and die immediately, like, please stop. Including myself, like, I should stop. So Quentin. Quentin is... I have seen some stuff that calls him, like, the E-boy of DBD. And you know what I love about him is that people don't tend to main him. So when you see a Quentin in your match, like, it's actually a pretty rare experience. And I kind of, like, respect the people that main Quentin for that reason, just because, like, people don't really play him very much. He's kind of like one of the more forgotten characters in DBD, I feel like. It's a hit or miss with him, like, just because people don't play him very much. Like, I feel like either they're absolute gods and, like, a random Quentin main who's, like, S-tier survivor, or it's just, like, a complete trash person, but they're at least unique. So either way, I'm gonna put him in A, just because it's interesting. Like, I like it when people are different, you know? Okay, Tap. It's gonna be really hard to not let my bias get in the way of this because I literally love Tap. I feel like he has such good outfits too, and no one wears them. No one plays him. And, like, I just don't see Taps in my matches. So when I see a Tap in my match, like, I just get really excited because I'm like, oh my god, someone is finally playing Tap. As far as stereotypes go, though, immersed in all black, he'll hide and do gens, but more importantly, if you try to slug and leave him on the ground, he'll be crawling away. Oh my god. I don't really think this is true for Tap. Like, I don't really agree with this. description of him. I think Tap is like a pretty good survivor. Like he'll do gens, he does loop. I don't like really see Taps like running any particular perks. I feel like the Tap people that do play Tap tend to play DBD a lot. I could be wrong, but that's like the impression that I get because they're usually pretty high level and they play decently. I'm not gonna put him in S because I know that's my bias trying to put him there, but I'm gonna put him in A because there's nothing wrong with him. He's pretty good. And again, the uniqueness aspect is there, just like Quentin. Like, it's just like, you know that this person is different than the average crowd of people that are playing DBD. Okay, Kate. I feel like Kate is a pretty average survivor. Like, I don't think Kate's like really run any specific kind of perks or play any specific kind of way. The thing about Kate that I love is her cosmetics. Like, I feel like Kate also has a lot of good cosmetics. Like, not amazing, but they're pretty good. I think based on Kate's like kind of lack of stereotype and her pretty decent cosmetics and average playstyle, I'll put her in B. Because she doesn't have like that uniqueness aspect either that Tap and stuff do, nor does she have like a particularly good stereotype associated with her. At least not from the matches that I've seen. Like, Kates just tend to be like pretty average, and you see so many of them, so there's nothing really cool about it. Okay, Adam. So Adam like is so rare. Like, I was going on about how Quentin and Tap mains are rare, but Adam I feel like is even more so rare than those two are. Like, I almost never see Adams, and Adam actually has some really cool cosmetics that people do not wear or play. Adam's lore is freaking amazing. I know that's not even relevant here, but I'm just thinking about everything about Adam that I know right now. When I see Adams, like, in my matches, I do feel like they tend to be pretty altruistic. Adams, like, always try to heal me, like, from what I have seen. I know there are some toxic Adams with the diversion perk, but I don't see that very much. I think I've only seen, like, maybe, like, 1 or 2 toxic Adams ever. Adam, I feel like he's like the kind of survivor that will help you, but he doesn't need help because he like has deliverance or something. So I'm just gonna put Adam in S because Adam is so unique. Like, that alone I feel like puts him in S, because when you see an Adam, you're like, oh my god, someone actually respects and appreciates the survivor that no one wants to play. Okay, Jeff. You know, Jeff is another one of those more unique ones. I feel like a lot of people that I know play Jeff because he's Canadian, like, literally. I feel like people that play Jeff, like, relate to Jeff in some way. I'm trying to think of, like, what Jeff mains typically do. I feel like not many people play Jeff because he doesn't have, like, you know, that many good perks or anything. This thing that I'm looking at says Jeff is wholesome. They don't care. Jeff is the strategically worst survivor. He's a big, kind-hearted man, and we love him. Jeff doesn't exist. When I first started my Discord server, for some weird reason, like, all of you guys that first joined the server were Jeff mains, and I have like no idea how or why this had happened, because until I started my Discord server, like, I feel like I didn't know any Jeff mains, and then all of a sudden there's like all these people in my server being like, oh, all hail Jeff, Jesus Jeff, blah blah blah, and I was like, what is happening? And even to this day, I still don't like Jeff or his perks. And like, even when I see him in matches, like, I don't feel any sort of particular way about him. But I think I'll just put him in, like, I don't know. Okay, it's unfair to put him any lower than A, because for Quentin and Tap, I was like, they deserve to be an A, because when you see a survivor playing this character, you're like, wow, they're a little bit different. And I feel like the same goes for Jeff. So for that reason, I'm going to put him in A. Jane, thick Jane. Like, that's like the first thing that comes to mind. How Janes play. Well, Jane is super loud. Janes tend to use head-on a lot. Jane booty. pretty much Jeff and Adam Rare. They're really bad or mediocre. They do, however, mostly play her because she's thick, maybe. Yeah, I feel like some people do actually just play her because she's thick. Like, that's literally the only reason. And I feel like sometimes killers chase her because she's thick. Like, I don't even know. But Janes don't really tend to last very long. I feel like they always die fairly quickly. I don't think they're a particularly good survivor. And I'm gonna just like put her in like C. I'm not a big fan of Jane. Ash. Okay, Ash is like really, really rare. But any Ash players that I see actually tend to be fairly annoying. Like, they play very selfishly. They're not very good loopers. They like leave you on hook. I don't really know why this is the case, honestly. No, I wonder if anyone agrees with me. The class clown plays kind of goofy. Like, you're not sure whether he's just bad at the game or more focused on memeing. You kind of wish he would stop sputtering raspberries at the killer. Yeah, this is kind of like the vibe that I get from Ash. Like, Ashes just play super weird and like they just... like, they're not actually focused on helping you get out. Like, they're focused on at least getting themselves out, if not, like, memeing around. So, again, I don't really like Ash. Like, I know he's rare, but because he kind of has a negative stereotype associated with him, I'm not going to put him in A like the others. Like, I think I'm going to put him in C because I really don't like Ashes. Plus, he, like, talks in the lobby, so it, like, blasts when you're in the lobby and you're just like, what is happening?
Look who's shitting in the tall grass.
Nancy. I kind of like Nancy's. Like, I feel like Nancy's are pretty good loopers, and Nancy's always heal me. Nancy's are always getting me off hook. Nancy's like tend to survive. I feel like Nancy's don't really die. Like, at least that's my interpretation of Nancy's. Like, when I'm looking around, I see a couple of different things about her. Like, this one is saying the more terrified version of Claudette, which I definitely don't agree with. Like, Nancy's are 100 times more likely to like play and do gens, I feel like, than a Claudette is. This one says the equivalent of a Meg, Claudette, and Fang all combined. Like, okay. So Nancy's are, you know, based on my experience, I actually really like how Nancy's play. I'm gonna put her in like B because there's nothing particularly appealing about her, but you know, she does play pretty decently well. But she has like no cosmetics. Like, you don't really see any cool Nancys. So for that reason, I'm gonna put her in B. Okay, Steve. Oh my God. Don't even get me started on Steve. Like, if you guys like know me, you already know how I feel about Steve. Like, if there was an F tier, I would put Steve in F. Like, it's Steve's. Okay, Steves are always toxic. Like, it doesn't matter if you're playing as killer or if you're playing as survivor. Like, if you're playing as survivor, he'll be toxic to you on your own team. If you're playing as killer, he will most definitely be toxic for the entire match. I cannot like stand Steves at all. And like, Steves are the most likely to send hate messages, especially Scoops Ahoy Steves. I have a friend, you know who you are, they got like a hate message from a Steve, and like that Steve was messaging them for like a week. I don't know. And like the first time I ever played Nurse, I was like bullied by a toxic Steve, and I just like really don't like Steve. So no further discussion, D tier.
Hold on.
Okay.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Oh no.
Holy Spirit,
no. Oh, no.
activate.
Yui. So Yui is actually pretty interesting because I feel like not many people play as Yui, but the people that play Yui are very altruistic, especially with Breakout and stuff. That's pretty much like the only stereotype that I have of her. So because she's unique and altruistic, I'm gonna like put her in A. I really like that survivor. Zarina. You know, I'm not a big fan of Zarina, even though it's my friend Spars' like favorite survivor, and I know she's gonna be super mad if Zarina doesn't go in S. Zarina is definitely not going to be going in S. Because if I look at like Zarina's, like, first of all, Zarina's are super, super loud, and I also don't like Zarina's hook scream and stuff at all. And, you know, the only thing I feel like that's been redeeming Zarina lately is that they've come out with a lot of good cosmetics for her, which makes her like slightly better. But when it comes to stereotypes, I think I need to Google that, because I feel like tough cookie on the outside crumbles easily. Don't let her aloof and hardened demeanor fool you as she whines and wanes, begins to panic, and abandons her friends to escape as the match gets harder. Yeah, you know, I really don't like Zarina very much. She's just loud and annoying, but her cosmetics have been getting better, and I haven't really encountered any particularly good or bad Zarinas, like, you know, when I play with randoms in my matches. I'm just gonna put her in B. Like, she's kind of a solid B. Sorry, Spars. Okay, Cheryl. See, now Cheryl, I feel like kind of is maybe the more terrified version of Claudette. Like, I feel like Cheryl's play very, very timidly. Like, I don't really see Cheryl's making any, like, intense moves or doing any, you know, I don't even see Cheryl's very much. Cheryl players just want others to understand what she actually went through in Silent Hill 3. Huge Silent Hill fan. I just don't see Cheryl very much. You know, I think I'm gonna put her in A, because again, people just don't play it very much. So if you just see it, it's unique. Okay, Felix. So Felixes are always dressed to the T. Like, they always have like these really fancy cosmetics on, and there's a huge variety of cosmetics for Felix, which I think is like really cool too. Even though I'm not personally like a fan of the cosmetics, I think there's like a lot of variety when it comes to his cosmetics, and I feel like they've been adding a lot for Felix specifically. When it comes to Felix stereotypes, all Felix mains were former David mains. Fight me. What is with you people and shipping dudes with David? Everyone's begging for shirtless Felix. People were pissed. Behavior said they were doing LGBT characters but gave Felix a girlfriend. Like, do y'all know? Okay. Daddy number 3. Felix isn't a bad survivor, but I don't really feel any particular way about him. So just because of his cool cosmetics and like the fact that people do play him a lot and they play pretty good, I'm just gonna put him in like B. Like, I don't feel any particular way about him either. Elodie. Okay, Elodie has the world's most annoying hook scream, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. Elodie, I don't really see many Elodies, but when I do, a lot of them are wearing those like Christmas outfits. I feel like people played Elodie a lot when she first came out, and then she kind of like fell off like over time. Like in my matches, like I've barely ever see Elodie except wearing the reindeer onesie. This is kind of hard. I honestly feel like Elodie is still a little bit new to tell. I'm just gonna put her in B for now. Yeah, I just don't see very many people playing her, but I don't really particularly like her either. And like the people that do play her aren't very original in their outfits, so B. Okay, Yunjin. That's another survivor that I don't see very much, but she does have some really fire outfits. I like her outfits and I love her look. I really can't say that I have any stereotypes for her whatsoever. Like, I don't think I've like almost never encountered any Yunjins in my matches. But I know when the Trickster chapter came out, like every person that was playing Yunjin was like a simp for Trickster, which I can totally agree with. And well, I mean, that obviously means that they just go and die to Trickster and they're not very much of a help in surviving. Let me see if there's any stereotypes about Yunjin. So far, every single Yunjin Lee has been a total nasty scumbag. I don't agree with that. Yeah, everybody has different opinions, of course. But yeah, if I'm going to base it on my opinion, I'm just going to put her in B because I think it would be unfair to really judge her. Actually, I'm going to put her in A because I just love her cosmetics. Like, I like the flashy cosmetics. that she has. And when people play her, like, it's very unique. Jill. I think it's safe to say that for Jill, like, most of the people that have been playing her a lot recently are pretty big fans of Resident Evil. Like, I feel like a lot of people have been really excited to see Jill in the game. And you know, Blast Mine is a perk that Jill has, but I haven't really seen very many people using it. Like, I know in the first couple days I saw people using it, but like recently I feel like Jill's haven't really been using that. Jill's have been pretty good, you know, nothing too crazy with them. Like, no stereotype was really standing out to me other than their Resident Evil fans. So I'm just gonna put her in a solid B. And Leon is kind of along those same lines, except Leon does use flashbang a lot. Like, I see a lot of flashbang saves coming from Leon. It's kind of funny when they fail, and it's awesome when they actually execute it correctly. So I'm gonna put Leon in A for that reason, but again, it's just like a Resident Evil like fan kind of character to play. Michaela, I mean, all Michaelas have the boon perks, which is pretty much expected. Michaelas also seem to be very altruistic to me. Like, they're always trying to get you into their boon zone and heal you. At least, like, that's the experience that I've had with them. I don't really mind Michaelas. Like, I feel like they're, you know, pretty decent, but sometimes I feel like they spend a little bit too much time doing the boon totems over doing other things. So for that reason, I'm just gonna put her in B, but she is pretty good overall. Jonah, like, honestly, I have no idea because, like, I've barely played since the Portrait of a Murder chapter came out. Like, I literally only played that in the PTB. Like, I don't think I've even played it since it came out. So I don't feel like I have an accurate read on like what Jonah mains are like. Like, I feel like right now people are just kind of scoping him out and trying to figure out how he is. Like, I don't really think there's any really stereotypes associated with Jonah just yet, so I feel like it would be unfair to rate him. And we're kind of gonna have to wait and see what happens with Jonah mains. Like, I know I did a poll recently and you guys thought he was kind of like a B tier survivor. So I'm just gonna like put him there for now. Like, but I don't really know. Like, I feel like we need more time to accurately portray what kind of players are going to be maining Jonah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was like super opinionated based on my experiences and everything with these types of survivors. And I just want you to know that no matter what survivor you main, I think you're awesome and you're all S tier. Like, even the survivors that I've mained, none of the survivors that I main are in S tier. Like, I either play Tap or Kate or Meg. And I feel like I do fit some of the stereotypes that I mentioned, so yeah. But yeah, let me know in the comments, like, you know, what survivor main you are and what tier you would put them into based on their stereotype. Let me know if you think I missed any stereotypes, like, or if any of my like experiences were different than yours. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.